I'm coming to you, Sandboy Baptist Brethren, from the intersection of Highway 9 and the county road that Tuskegee Baptist Church is found on. This is about 7.5 miles west of the Eufaula intersection of Highway 9 and the 69 Business Road, the one of the stoplights there in Eufaula, about 7.5 miles straight west on Highway 9. That water tower is a good landmark to orient yourself to, but there's the sign that our State Baptist Convention has erected, which is also an Oklahoma historical marker. So let's head south now, about 3/4 of a mile, and I will next come to you from the church. After going about 3/4 of a mile south, you will see this sign on the west side of the road, and you turn in the little drive right here, and the church can be seen on up ahead. So let's head there now. Well, here I am, excuse me, at the Tuskegee Baptist Church. Oh, it looks like something is burning just a few miles down the road west. But anyway, sorry about the distraction there. This is the present day Tuskegee Baptist Church. Of course, this would not be the same structure that Annie would have been in, but if you look right there, straight ahead, there is the rock that Annie used to mount her horse after her visit here. Sorry for the shaking. And you can probably see now much better the plaque that is also placed by the Baptist General Convention, or now I should say Oklahoma Baptists. But let me get the rock from this side. You can see it's a pretty good sized rock. Annie Walker Armstrong, 1850 to 1938. This is the rock she used to get on her horse. And during a trip in August of 1900, at that time, she was the corresponding secretary of Southern Baptist WMU. And that was her very first trip to the Indian Territory. Oh, sorry about that. While the total trip was 40 days, this says 45, but the books that I've consulted have said 40. She took 5 trips total, but she was in the Oklahoma and Indian Territory for 17 days. So tell this is amateur production. I thought this was a good thing before I read about the trip to Indian Territory. Early on in her career, Miss Armstrong developed her own battle cry. She used it throughout her years of active service. It was taken from Exodus 14:15. Go forward. She believed not to advance was to retrograde. She issued this challenge often, and eventually go forward was adopted as the first motto of WMU. But this is very relevant to what we're talking about. Miss Armstrong was deeply loyal to Southern Baptist causes. She allied herself with the Foreign Mission Board, the Home Mission Board, the Sunday School Board, and other developing Southern Baptist programs. As a native of Maryland, which was a border state She knew and understood the mood of Northern and Southern alignments. Even in 1900, even though the Civil War had been ended for 35 years, there were still tensions between Southern states and Northern states. So she was very mindful of that. And because of that, this helped her in laying foundations in Oklahoma for eventual single alignment with the Southern Baptist Convention. But early on, she accepted the common practice of her time with border states, receiving and giving through northern and southern channels. Annie probably helped save Indian Territory as a Southern Baptist missions territory during the years of its development. And a matter of fact, Annie was in Eufaula, and here, as the sign said, August 30th. Matter of fact, let me read what Mr. Gaskin said about this. She arrived at Eufaula, Indian Territory, on August 30. She wrote in her journal, "I am not feeling at all broken down. We have traveled 1,800 miles, but are taking it in easy stages, so it is not telling on me in the least." Gaskin goes on to write, "This trip to Eufaula is likely the occasion of Miss Armstrong's visit to the Tuskegee Indian Church, 8 miles west of Eufaula, where she organized the first missionary society among the Creeks. While there, she taught the Indian women how to make bread and wine for the Lord's Supper." But as I was going to say, she was here August 30, and then eventually she made her way southeast to Durant, and she was present at the annual meetings of the conventions. There were 2 Indian conventions in the state, and there were 2 white Baptist conventions in the state. And it was during that time in Durant, September 7, 1900, she was there when the two groups, as far as the Indian Association, and I believe the white conventions too, joined together as one. So, one more thing I wanted to read to you. Annie had 3 purposes for coming to Oklahoma in the Indian Territory. 1900, 7 years before statehood, but it was still not all Indian Territory. By 1900, as you can see on the map that I've provided, there was it almost diagonalized the division of the state, and the west and north part was Oklahoma Territory, and the east and southern part was the Indian Territory. But Annie had 3 purposes for coming here: to gain personal knowledge of the frontier field, to be in the Indian Territory when the 2 conventions there consolidated, and to present new century plans to state WMU central committees on the way to and from Oklahoma. And she did that in places like Louisville and St. Louis, Dallas, Birmingham. But anyway, if you ever get a chance to come here, or maybe your senior adults or your WMU group would like to take a trip, come to the Rock where Annie was, the church where she started the first WMU among the Creek Indians, and then go out for a time of lunch or dinner, whatever it might be. But I just want to challenge each pastor, each church member, and each church body in our association that we would take Annie's motto to go forward. And we're still here on planet Earth. And so we need to continue to move forward. And while Indian Territory and Oklahoma are no longer a frontier, there are still frontiers that need to be breached, that need to be reached. And so Let's be stirred and encouraged and inspired by Annie and her example. Like I said, she came 4 more times to the Indian Territory, to Oklahoma. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy the other videos that I will have produced, and hope each of you, each of our sister churches and Sandboy Association, hope you have a fantastic Easter season, which for us as Southern Baptists entails Annie Armstrong Easter emphasis. And this is Brother Jeff Bings, the associational historian, coming to you, and now signing out at Tuskegee Baptist Church outside of Eufaula.